Have you ever wondered why the women you want most are the ones who pull away the fastest? Why it seems like the harder you try, the more you give, the more you chase, she just slips further away. You start thinking maybe it's you, maybe you're too old, maybe you don't have the spark anymore, but let me tell you something. It's not because you're not good enough, it's because you've been playing a game you didn't even realize you were in. A game with rules you were never taught. Most men are walking around thinking attraction is about being nice, being polite, showing her you're dependable. Others think it's all about looks or saying the perfect thing at the perfect time. But here's the truth, and it's going to change everything. Women aren't reacting to what you say, they're responding to how you carry yourself, how you move, how you speak without needing to prove anything. There's a system, yes, a real, to psychological pattern, to how women respond to men. And the reality is, 99 out of 100 guys never even see it. But once you do, once you understand it and you start living from that place of quiet confidence, you won't have to chase, beg, or settle ever again. Because you'll be the man she leans into, naturally. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly how to flip the dynamic, so that instead of hoping she'll choose you, she starts feeling like you're the one she wants to earn. And we're not going to do it by pretending to be someone we're not. We're going to do it by stepping into a place of calm, clear control, not manipulation, not games, just pure confidence, the kind that speaks before you ever open your mouth. Let me be real with you for a second. If you're talking to women the same way you talk to your buddies, joking, teasing, trying to be logical or explain yourself, you're already losing the connection before it even begins. Most men are trying to talk their way in. They think that if they just explain who they are and why they'd be a good partner, she'll feel something. But women don't work like that. Emotion comes first. Logic comes second. You could tell her you've got a solid career, that you're respectful, that you've raised a family, that you've never cheated in your life. And that's great. But it's not what makes her feel drawn to you. It's not what stirs that deeper curiosity, that spark, that pull. What really grabs her attention, especially as she matures, is how you make her feel. Not what you say, not your qualifications, but the presence you bring into the room. Women aren't building a checklist, they're responding to energy. The guy who creates a sense of mystery, who doesn't give everything away up front, who's confident enough to let silence sit between the words, that's the man she thinks about, not because he's cold, but because he's calm. And calm is powerful. So if you've been trying to convince women to like you, if you've been explaining your worth instead of standing in it, that's why she's not feeling it. Not because you're lacking anything, but because you're speaking the wrong language. Let's fix that. Let's get you back into your power. Because when you start communicating from the heart, not just the head, she'll feel it, and that changes everything. You ever notice how some guys barely say anything, and yet the woman can't stop thinking about them? He doesn't overtext, he doesn't send a bunch of emojis. He's not flooding her phone with check-ins or compliments. He doesn't try too hard to be funny or charming or impressive. He just shows up with this calm, grounded energy, like a man who knows exactly who he is and what he's about. And because he's not chasing, because he's not constantly trying to win her over, something strange starts to happen. She starts leaning in. She starts reaching out. She starts wondering about him. That kind of reaction isn't luck. It's not about playing hard to get either. What you're seeing in those moments is something deeper. It's what I call emotional gravity, the silent pull of a man who is whole on his own. He's not out here trying to impress. He's not looking to be saved or completed. He's simply open to connecting, but only if she brings something real to the table. And that energy, that presence, it's magnetic, because it tells her something most men never do. I'm not here to chase, I'm here to choose. And this is where a lot of good men get tripped up, because we've been told that emotional availability means oversharing, that it means sitting down and unloading your life story or putting your heart on your sleeve from the first conversation. Or worse, confusing vulnerability with desperation. So they start saying too much too, soon hoping it'll make her feel closer, hoping she'll see how sincere and loyal and caring they are. But instead of creating intimacy, It ends up creating pressure. Or you've got guys who think confidence means walking into the room like they own it. Loud, flashy, big personality, talking over everyone just to prove they belong. But the truth? Real confidence is the opposite. It's not loud, it's steady. It's not boastful, it's sure. It doesn't need to explain or convince. It just is. Real confidence is quiet. It's the kind of presence that says, I'm good with who I am. I don't need you to validate that, but I'd love to see who you are too. So if you want to stand out, if you want a woman to feel something real around you, then stop performing. Stop trying to sell yourself like a product. You're not applying for a job. You're offering a connection. And what makes you powerful isn't what you say, it's the space you create, the way you listen, the way you carry yourself, the way you make her feel seen without needing to be seen yourself. That kind of energy is rare, and it's unforgettable. When you stop trying to prove your worth and you simply stand in it, everything changes. She feels it. She respects it. She slows down when she talks to you. She pays more attention. She doesn't just hear your words, she watches how you hold eye contact, how you don't flinch in silence, how you stay grounded even when she tests you. And yes, women test. Not to be cruel, but to see if the strength you're showing is real or just an act. And when you don't flinch, when you remain that calm, collected version of yourself, even when the conversation gets a little uncomfortable, or when things don't go your way, that's when she starts to trust you, not just as a man she can laugh with or flirt with, but as someone she can feel safe with, emotionally, spiritually. And that kind of connection, that's where real desire is born. Because it's not just about what you do, it's about who you are while you're doing it. So if you're used to giving too much too fast, if you've been performing instead of connecting, here's your shift. Stop proving. Start holding space. You are the steady presence in a world full of noise. You are the calm in the emotional chaos. And when you own that, you'll never have to chase again. She'll come to you, not because you asked, but because she feels something she can't explain. Now you might be thinking, okay, so I hold my frame. I stop chasing. I stop over-explaining myself. But what if she pulls away anyway? What if she doesn't respond? That's where most guys break. They've done the work to shift their tone, to speak with presence, to stop trying so hard, but the moment she backs off, even a little, they panic. They text again. They double back. They try to restart the conversation or ask if something's wrong. And that's when everything falls apart. Because confidence isn't about saying confident things. It's about how you act when things don't go your way. It's easy to feel in control when everything's going right. But the real test is how you handle resistance. If you text her once about meeting up and she doesn't answer, you don't follow up again 2 hours later asking, "Did you get my message?" You say nothing. You give her space. You go live your life. Because that silence, that pause, it's where your power is, not in chasing her attention, but in holding your standard. And this matters, because women pay attention to how you handle uncertainty. If she cancels on you last minute and you say, "No worries, just let me know when you're free," you're showing her that your time is flexible, that she can shift your schedule without consequence. But if you calmly say, "All good. I don't usually do last-minute changes. Let's try another time," you're not being cold. You're showing that you value your time and expect the same from others. And if she disappears entirely, you don't get upset. You don't make it personal. You simply move forward. Because the man who doesn't beg for attention commands respect. The man who can walk away without anger or desperation is the man women remember. He becomes the standard because he knows when to stay and when to go. You have to understand, women aren't looking for a perfect man. They're looking for a man who knows who he is, a man who doesn't flinch when tested, a man who can make decisions, take the lead, and still make her feel safe while doing it. That combination, strength with emotional grounding, is what separates the men she likes from the men she loves. When you get this right, when you make this shift in the way you show up in relationships, everything changes. You stop feeling like you're walking on eggshells. You stop wondering if you said too much or not enough. You stop second-guessing whether you're interesting, attractive, or worthy. Because you already know the answer. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about being steady, grounded, and intentional with how you connect, and more importantly, who you give your time and energy to. You'll start to notice how different women respond to you. You'll feel more respected, more heard, and more desired. Not because you're doing more, but because you're finally doing less of what was never working. And here's the best part. This shift doesn't just change your relationships. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes how you hold yourself at work. It changes how you feel when you look in the mirror, because you're no longer trying to be enough. You're simply being you. And that's more than enough. So if you've ever felt like you're stuck in a cycle of chasing, giving too much, or feeling like you're constantly trying to prove yourself to women who don't see your worth, this is your turning point. This is your moment to stop reacting and start leading. Because when you become the kind of man who knows his value, speaks with intention, and stays grounded even when the wind shifts, you become the man women can't help but notice. Not for what you do, but for who you are. If this message hit home for you, if something finally clicked, drop a comment below and just say, "I'm choosing confidence. I want to know you're stepping into this with me." I read every single one of your comments. And if this video gave you a new perspective, hit that like button. It helps more men find this content, and we need more of this kind of conversation out there. The world is loud with advice that doesn't work. This is what does. And if you're still watching, stay tuned for the next video, because I'm going to show you one simple body language cue that creates connection before a single word is spoken. You don't want to miss that. Until then, keep this with you. You don't need to chase, you don't need to convince, you don't need to perform, you just need to be steady, be calm, be the man who already knows his worth, because that's the man she'll always remember, and that's the man you were born to be.